Fire, 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 fire.
Palworld. They don't want you to play this game. They tried to stop it. It's peaking at 800,000 gamers.
This is like my fifth take. I've really been trying to hold it together, so please bear with me. Palworld has absolutely decimated the games industry. We have a ragtag group of developers and one guy from a gas station that have somehow drugged this game over the finish line, reaching over 800,000 concurrent players on Steam.
That's crazy, man. It's so different from the 1.0, because like I played it up to like level 30, and it was pretty bare bones. It had a lot of bugs. Like, I've been playing it, and honestly, it's so addicting. It really is.
It probably sold
it's
like,
so fun.
I don't know, probably like over 30 million copies by now, and you have these publishers and studios that have been spending like 200 or 500 million dollars. These guys just absolutely destroyed them. They've completely decimated them. It is absolutely embarrassing. You got
COD cost almost $1 billion to make.
schooled.
Get clowned on.
And the one thing that makes this all the more sweeter is that this game, since its existence, since the minute it entered into the market, this team in this game has had their head held underwater. Whether it was journalists that were attacking it, whether it was AAA developers that were attacking it, whether it was Pokemon fans, deranged Pokemon fans, they make a very clear distinction there. Whether
those are the ones that will defend corpos no matter what. It's like Xbox fanboys and PlayStation fanboys.
Was Nintendo trying to sue them out of existence. We have never seen a publisher or a studio or a game that has been under this level of scrutiny and this amount of pressure that still somehow found a way to be able to come out on the other side, and on top of that, became one of the best-selling games of the last decade by like a country mile. This is not only a victory for players, this is a victory for Palworld, this is a victory for the industry, and a lot of people need to start seeing it like that. Because this is a game that just, it flies in the face.
They tried to destroy them as they were making the game. I was really worried because they were, my biggest worry about with Palworld, the developers, when they announced they were getting sued, I was concerned the game was literally going to die. Because how else are you going to fight off Nintendo that basically has infinite money? Let's be real, like Pokemon. Fucking Pokemon of all people. They just were going to destroy them. And then they actually won. I cannot believe that they won the patent. Or not the patent, but like basically they fought him off and said, no, it's not valid.
What every journalist and game developer thinks what video games should come to represent. This is a game that puts fun first and everything else second. It's a game that they sold for $30. Scratch that. $20 because they wanted to put it on discount when the game went to its full release. Legendary. So today we're going to be talking about the continued success of Palworld. We're going to talk about what this game means for the rest of the industry, how this game goes to show that the only voice that matters in this conversation is ours, and how I think Nintendo should be scared. So Palworld has always held a really special place in my heart because when I was laid off 2 years ago and I decided to go all in on YouTube, it was one of the very first games that I had covered. Its success, along with Baldur's Gate 3, really helped to launch this channel. And
it's been 2 years.
I don't think that was simply just because those games were popular. I think it's because of the counterculture movement that kind of formed around those games.
Yeah, and everybody was shitting all over Baldur's Gate. Do you guys remember all the journalists saying, oh, it's actually not that great. It's not actually that progressive of a game, Baldur's Gate. The game where you can be anyone you fucking want. You can be a chick with a dick. You can fuck a bear if you want to. And no one gives a fuck, right? All the chuds enjoyed the game because they could kill anybody what they want. They could do whatever they want. They could kill in their party. Dragon Age, you couldn't do that. You couldn't kill characters that you didn't like.
Not really too sure if a lot of you guys remember this, but
player
expectations clashing with developers and publishers complaining about the realities of game development was a massive topic at the time. And I think that that period largely closed the chapter on players being willing to listen or have any empathy for anybody that
fuck those stupid dodo birds that explode. Fuck those things.
Was asking for their money. With
Stupid
Baldur's Gate
ass.
3, developers and journalists were saying that it was unfair for players to expect a game of a similar quality from anybody else, even though Larian had made it with fewer developers, a smaller budget, and within roughly the same amount of time.
And this is a hot take too. I think Divinity is honestly up there with their games that they've developed. It's just that Baldur's Gate is behind Baldur's Gate the franchise. I don't think it got the attention it deserves.
Time frame as any other AAA game.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next one.
With Palworld, it was full-on gatekeeping. The industry did everything they could to write off that game's success because millions of players were flocking to something that they had already dismissed as a blatant ripoff and the antithesis of modern game design. A crackpot team of 10 developers, a gas station worker, and a rubber band, and a game made for less than $10 million.
Expedition 33 had a guy that was not classically trained make the soundtrack. They found him of SoundCloud. They found this guy on SoundCloud. They didn't have hirings. They just found this guy and like peeled him off the street. Same with like one of the writers. I'm pretty sure it was just a fucking Redditor.
They attacked its themes, its cruelty, the slavery.
Insane,
Naughty Dog
man.
developer came out and said that it must have been made nefariously. Others
3 flags in bio.
had argued that its gameplay and themes simply just weren't up to modern standards. It just wasn't good enough to be this popular, they thought, with the gamer writing. It isn't a plucky indie game sticking it to the AAAs. It is yet another copycat without an original bone in its body. It's not...
They're so mad. They don't play the game. Like, yeah, obviously, I can see elements of them picking out things that they like, but what game doesn't have that? Everybody said that World of Warcraft was a fucking lazy EverQuest ripoff that was made for babying a new audience. Which, yeah, to some extent, it is true. I'm not gonna deny that. But, like, I don't want to fucking play EverQuest. If you want to go play EverQuest, fucking do it, man. It's its own fucking game. These journals don't actually play.
Heralding the death of creativity in gaming either. The CEO, a big fan of AI, but with a catalog of not Breath of the...
Yeah, creativity. Yeah, let me eat some more of that cod sloppa.
Wild, not Ark, and not Hollow Knight. Is it really shocking that he would endorse a tool that shamelessly rips off artists? And copycats like this are a dime a dozen. They're not indicative of the industry's future. Everything about it is something we have seen countless times. This is just a rare instance of a knockoff blowing up. Fans will latch on to this as ammunition in endless arguments online, but I can't see Palworld sticking around for long because it simply isn't that good. Everything it does, 10 other survival games do better. It's just a convenient gotcha in every shred of discourse right now. But when the internet inevitably moves on, that hollow foundation will crumble. Oh no, somebody needs to do a wellness check on these journalists because, oh man,
someone check their diapers because they're full.
You're wrong. During early access, the game had reached 2.1 million concurrent players on Steam, becoming the second game in the history of the platform to ever break over 2 million players, later overtaken by Black Myth Wukong. It went from 1 million to 6 to 7 to 19 to 25, and then earlier this year, 40 million players in total. It sold 15 million copies in its first year, past 25 million by the end of 2025, and now with its full release, it has broken records yet again. By
and it's insane to me. People are coping and being like, actually, there's not that many copies because they sold them in the first half. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think Palworld, when it came out, like in early access, was like, it was not what it was supposed to be. Obviously, because it's fucking early access. It was buggy. It was empty. The map wasn't finished. You could clearly tell there were some spaces that just literally didn't have anything. It was still really fun to play, but it wasn't done. And then these motherfuckers cope and seethe, and they're like, it's the first copies over there in the when it was first came out, because I've never actually played the game and I'm really salty and I don't know, I don't see potential. It had so much potential. I saw it immediately when I got blown up by that fucking stupid mammoth. When I was playing it on stream, God, I knew that game was gonna be good. The second that happened, I was like, this is gonna be a fun game.
It has broken records yet again by reaching over 855,000 concurrent players on Steam. re-entering the most played games on the platform in its entire history. At this point, it has likely sold well over 30 million copies, which, guys, that's Pokemon numbers. Palworld...
Yeah, which is insane. How much money did they make? And they discounted it, too. Honestly, people would have understood if they said, hey, guys, we're struggling. Could you, like, maybe shell out another $10? I think with how amazing the game is, people wouldn't be mad at them. Do you agree that a lot of early access games flop? Yes, absolutely. 100%. But I saw potential, even with how bare bones Palworld was. I played it in the first, like, couple of weeks, and I'm sure it got better and better and better with each new update, but, like, I was kind of holding on with having a fresh mindset on, like, that's what I remember playing, and I wanted to, like, play it when it was fully released, because then I would have a better gauge, well, you know, yeah, like a better understanding of what improvements have happened. What gamers want Baldur's Gate, what journals want Concord, and they wonder why no one listens to them anymore. Well, they don't know what they want because they don't play video games. They're not gamers, they're just shills.
Is now the first real creature collecting contender that we have ever seen enter into this industry. And yet, for some odd reason, we still have an incredible amount of mental gymnastics that are coming from mostly deranged Pokemon fans that are trying to argue that Palworld actually failed to regain its momentum, that the game somehow is actually a flop, and that everybody needs to accept.
What? It failed?
That they've been supporting.
It's better. What?
Scammers because, well,
dude. I wanna huff the copium that these people have. This has gotta be rage bait. I mean, it's honestly probably not rage bait because they don't have a blue check mark.
Well, it didn't do the exact same absurd 2 million players that it reached at the beginning of early access just 2 years ago. Some of them even tried to debate me on it. I don't. Early access just 2 years ago. Some of them.
It's frightening how unaware you are of your own. Dude, he's so bad. What was that sound? Oh shit, you found the clip? Oh, this is so good. This is so long ago. Oh my god. Chat, okay, hold on. Before we go back to left.
Ah, man, it's not that big of a deal.
This is my old mic too. Oh my god.
What was that sound?
It was a mammoth. It blew up my face. God, that was so fucking good, dude. That was amazing. Oh my lord. Just absolutely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I still have that save. I have that save. I didn't delete it because I wanted to keep it because it's fond. Like, I have fond memories of it because it was super buggy. Yep, still have it.
Even tried to debate me on it. I don't debate with those kind of people. There is simply just no debate to be had here. Palworld is bar none one of the most successful games in the last decade. It is one of the best-selling new IPs.
I want Pokemon. I want Nintendo and whatever the fuck it's called, the company that makes Pokemon. I want them to be afraid. I want them to feel threatened because the last like 5 years, maybe I'm honestly, I would chalk it up to like 10 years. They've been shitting the bed. Yeah, Game Freaky. Yep, Game Freaky.
Past 10 years, maybe even longer than that, only beaten out by
they're a bloated, like they're sitting on a throne of money and they're bloated, fat, and complacent. If you actually look back on the history, I'm pretty sure Pokemon almost failed, and then they placed a guy to save the franchise, and they took a bunch of like ideas from Dragon Quest because they had a bunch of creatures, or maybe it wasn't Dragon Quest, I'm like misremembering, but anyway, they actually did the same thing. They didn't steal, they just reimagined the same creatures. Honestly, I would even argue Palworld doesn't even reimagine or steal from fucking Pokemon as Pokemon stole from Dragon Quest. I think the Dragon Quest monsters to Pokemon were even more obvious.
PUBG, which spent its first few years as a premium game and sold 75 million copies, and Overwatch, which sold...
Pokemon was supposed to fucking fail. I think they were doing like basically a Hail Mary at that point.
over 50 million copies, apparently. The fact that Palworld was able to even reach 2 million concurrent players in early access was already absurd. The fact that they brought back more than 40% of that audience and reached over 800 million players for their 1.0 launch. Guys, these are numbers that publishers dream about. And there's a good chance that number is going to continue to grow because, well, there are hundreds of hours of gameplay inside of a game this massive. I am genuinely astounded by this game's success because for all intents and purposes, this game should not have succeeded. Critics and developers hounded it from the very beginning. They called it...
Oh no, I disagree. I think it was bound to succeed. It's just I was more worried about them running out of money. Yeah, I was really, really like depressed for a bit because I was like, damn, I really like this game, but Nintendo's probably going to take a big fat dump all over them and they're going to run out of money and they're never going to release it.
Unoriginal, and even now writers are still desperately trying to paint this game as a ripoff. Polygon just put out an article recently framing the character design changes as an attempt to make pals look less like Pokemon.
Yeah, that's more consideration than Pokemon did with Dragon Quest. I gotta pull it up. Hold on. Dragon Quest versus Pokemon. Chat, you're gonna see this and you're gonna like actually be like, what the fuck are they saying? What the fuck are we even talking about? It's so egregious. It's insanely egregious how they fucking copy. Look at the fucking Golbat, the Zubat, the Pinsir, the Ammonite, the Rhyhorn, the Shelder, the Nidoran. Like, some of these, like, this one and this one, fucking, what's his face? Why am I spacing? Gyarados, yeah, Gyarados! That one was egregious. Graveler. Yeah, like, some of these are, like, obviously they put in effort, but, like, I just think to myself, like, these are so egregious in comparison to Palworld. How could you have the audacity to say, like, oh, well, they're copying us? It's like, yeah, bitch, you copied too. You just made them a little bit more appealing and cutesy. These are, like, actual monsters, in my opinion. Yeah, look at the Dragonite. The little Kingler, the fucking Pidgeot. So stupid. I cannot believe, like, if I was a lawyer, I would just be like, Your Honor, look at this shit. I would just extend my hand to the board and be like, yo, what up with that, though?
Guys are just still...
Nintendo's a terrible company in terms of how they treat people. They used to be a wholesome company. That's the sad part. Yeah, they used to be the underdog. Like, they really threw a Hail Mary at a lot of games they developed. It's just that I honestly think, in my opinion, with how much it's happened with, like, video games in general, I think there comes a point, and I get really sad thinking about this, but, like, amazing games eventually will bloat so hard that you lose all the people that made it wholesome and, like, for gamers. The greed will corrupt the original company. It's happened to so many games, even games that I'm not invested in at all. I think they just get so big and so successful that just, yeah, I don't know. They just eventually just get corrupted in a way.
Set that players enjoyed something that they did not. This game is also made by a bunch of inexperienced developers who had never even worked on a game before.
Oh no, they did actually. It was a sucky ass fucking game. I'll find it.
On top of that, you had these Pokemon fans that were lawsuit baiting and trying to destroy their reputation by fabricating evidence that Palworld was directly stealing models from Pokemon, something that never...
Stealing models from Pokemon? Yeah.
Models from Pokemon.
Craftopia? Yeah. That shit sucked, happened. Apparently.
None of that actually resulted in a lawsuit. Nintendo did not sue Pocket Pair over the creature designs because they couldn't. How could they?
Look at this shit. Look, they made a game and it sucked. People didn't really like it that much. Like, yeah, mostly positive, but like, I think there's a little bit of a bias because they've won, so like I would say psychologically people are going to like maybe be a little bit biased, but I remember it was like mostly positive mixed reviews because like it was just not great. It could have been better, but clearly they developed on it. Look, it is Palworld, but like different. It is because they learned. That's the what I like to see with these video games. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure the first Divinity wasn't stellar from Larian Studios. It was good, but it wasn't like the best. I think Divinity 2 was what captured them with a massive audience of people that love Dungeons and Dragons and like, you know, tabletops. Yeah, like, yeah, I don't want to shit on Larian. I'm just saying, like, yeah, there is, like, a threshold of, like, oh, I'm doing pretty good, and I did a better turnover than all the other games that I've ever made, but you can even hear it. It's like a little jingle. It sounds like Palworld. But you can do better, and that's what I want to see. You don't want to become complacent.
I mean, most of the Pokemon designs are actually ripped straight from Dragon Quest to begin with, so instead what Nintendo did is they sued them for everything else. Throughout this game's development,
what
Nintendo did is they sued them for
Nintendo sues Pokemon with guns, video game firm. Yeah.
everything else.
Pokemon with
Throughout
guns.
this game's development, Pocket Pair has been hammered by Nintendo, and one of the most blatantly obvious examples we have ever seen of a publisher just trying to financially destroy its competition. Soon after the game had launched, Nintendo sued Pocket Pair.
Craftopia got negative reviews because the players are salty that Pocket Pair didn't fulfill their promise to keep co-developing both games and technically almost abandoned Craftopia. I get where they're coming from, but just by looking at... I don't want to harp on this too much, but, I mean, you kind of... Buddy, it's... You look at it, it's literally just fucking Palworld, but not that good. I'ma be real. Like, yeah, it's the alpha. Like, I mean, I get there's some people that are probably passionate and they actually really like the game, and I don't blame them for being salty, but buddy, just go play some Palworld. I'm sorry, it's probably better. Yeah.
Over patents. First, it was the act of
they
capturing characters in a ball.
They clearly put their, you know, their eggs in one basket because they know it was going to be better. Yeah. It's just funny to me, but whatever. I get it.
And then it was aiming and throwing an item with a displayed success rate, and then finally it was using creatures as mounts, and with that they were trying to seek an injunction to stop the game from being distributed
so fucking stupid
entirely. They threw everything
I bet you I could find other games that do that. Also, I love the little fox fucking fired little dude, oh my god, blasting people with the harness.
And they hoped that something would stick. That's this entire thing. It's basically what they did from the very beginning. Even going as far as to file patents during the lawsuit and attempt to retroactively sue Pocket Pair for ideas that they did not actually hold patents to before the case had began. All of this was setting a dangerous precedent for gaming as a whole. If Nintendo got its way, it could effectively ruin countless games across the entire industry by claiming ownership over basic mechanics like riding creatures. But it became increasingly obvious that Nintendo's real goal was just to keep Pocket Pair trapped in legal battles, drain them of their resources.
WoW uses mounts. You know what's really funny? People speculate that they removed pet battles, which was like a thing that they added 12 years ago into the game. You have three pets. You can gather them all over the world. You can earn them from like achievements and stuff. They actually stopped making them in World of Warcraft, and they never said why, but all of a sudden they completely removed that. They still have the pet battle system in the game, but like the expansion doesn't have any content, if that makes sense. Like it's still there, but what's the opposite of retroactively? But like from now on, they can't. Yeah, like people were speculating that they basically said, oh, we're gonna sue you, and then they're like, oh, proactively. Yeah, they proactively are not going to put achievements, pet battles, that kind of content into the game because they probably don't want to get sued. And that was like around about the time like Nintendo was suing Palworld. I think they might have scared them, to be honest.
Sources and then drive the company out of business. Pocket Pair's CEO accepted that
it's not
challenge,
confirmed
saying
or anything.
that
I'm
he
just
would not back down because
still,
he didn't want indie developers to be discouraged from pursuing their creative ideas. Now, I'm going to be real with you guys. Most times, the little guy does not win. I would imagine that basically the entire purpose of this kind of frivolous lawsuit or these legal battles is literally just to drain them of their resources and then force the studio to either shut down or stop supporting the game. That way, Nintendo would no longer have to worry about the competition, the unflattering comparisons, or the damage to its own brand when parents accidentally confuse Palworld for Pokemon and they don't want to buy the game with the slavery and guns. I don't
Who gives a fuck, man? Jesus. If I had a kid, I would let them play fucking Pokemon. Who gives a fuck?
Really know exactly.
I mean, not Pokemon, Palworld. Yeah, like who fucking cares, man?
Their problem was, but even with Nintendo's intervention,
so dumb.
None of that stopped players from supporting the game. And to much displeasure of the rest of the industry and many other developers and also the media, well, other studios also began supporting Palworld.
Yeah,
Terraria brought
good.
cosmetics, weapons, bosses, and more with its crossover Ultra Kill.
Terraria collaboration, fishing and friendship mechanic. Oh yeah, they did that big update. Yeah, isn't that wholesome? God, I love Terraria. That's another one that's really fun to me. It's the funnest with friends, but it's pretty fun by yourself. I'm not gonna lie, I think Terraria is one of those games that's just like the best when it's with friends.
Cosmetics, weapons, bosses, and more with its
It's the
crossover
most,
Ultra Kill
like,
that followed with
ideal.
one of its own. Valheim and Corekeeper later joined Palworld in these group
yeah,
bundles where the
Valheim,
studios could
yeah,
support
so
one another.
cute.
All of this helped Pocket Pair to hold out against
Awesome.
one of the most litigious publishers in the industry, with the lawsuit now reportedly ending with Nintendo only able to win around $30,000 in damages. Oh,
With how much money they probably made. Oh my god, that's actually so good. That's not that bad. I know it's a lot of money, don't get me fucking wrong, but that's so good because of how successful, like, comparatively they are.
don't you just love to see justice served? Palworld did not have the approval of the media. It didn't have the protection of a major publisher. It didn't have
The
the
Terraria Palworld collaboration is stupid. No, it's not. They introduced fishing. And, like, being friends with your pals, and you can fuck them, too, if you really want to, if you're that weird. It's not dumb.
reputation of established
Yeah, they didn't have fishing before. Now you can fish for the pals.
studios or an army of experienced developers behind it.
What did you say?
Nearly
Well, it's implied. It's not actually you plowing them, but yeah.
every
You
instance
cannot fuck? I thought you can breed them. Chat, no. Yeah, that's what I'm implying, chat. Like, more than pals, eh? You can sleep in the same bed. Well, that's what I'm implying. I mean, it is after all like a soft kids game. I mean, I'm just joking. Not with you. No, not breeding, but you can like sleep with them.
institution that normally gets to decide what game deserves to succeed told players that this game was cheap, derivative, unethical.
I mean, there's that really, slutty looking pink dino, and it's like you put them in the same bed as you. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. Lavender? Yeah. The pink dino with the fucking honkers,
temporary or just outright illegitimate, and players ignored every single one of them. They couldn't shame people out of playing it. They couldn't convince them that this game was already dead. They couldn't bury this game beneath accusations of plagiarism, and even Nintendo couldn't even litigate them out of existence. Palworld just became larger, stronger, and more difficult to remove.
Pink cat.
That's what makes this story way bigger than just one successful game. Palworld exposed just how little authority these people actually have when the players collectively decide that something is worth supporting. The industry spent 2 years telling everyone what Palworld was supposed to be.
I mean, it's like kind of like the Rotten Tomatoes versus audience score dilemma, like IGN score versus what's that website that aggregates like actual review scores? I forget the one. You guys know what I'm talking about.
And the players, the ones that were actually playing
that was the one. Yeah,
they were the ones that actually decided what it was. How embarrassing. I love it. I love this game. I love the story behind it. I love everything that happened. This has to be one of the most validating experiences I have ever had. It's probably true for a lot of you guys as well. The industry was wrong. The players were right. Now, it's not like that ever happens, right? It's literally the meme of the guy screaming, stop enjoying that game. And the guy just having fun playing it. These guys threw a tantrum for like 2 years straight about this game. And it resulted in nothing other than it just becoming more successful. The one thing that has always bothered me about this game is how poorly it was treated by the industry at large, both by game developers and also by the media itself. This is exactly the kind of game that we want to see succeed.
And you know what the best part is like they didn't even beg for money from people. They just said, hey guys, it's going to be a little bit, we might have a little bit of a struggle while we're fighting the lawsuit, but they didn't like cry and bitch about it on Twitter. Like, I don't know. There's just something like authentic about it.
This is literally David versus Goliath.
Yeah, they didn't increase the price. They could have.
Pokemon has held a chokehold on this genre. It is thought to be impenetrable by most. In most cases, people can only find very niche success in this genre, never to challenge the throne. And now we have a usurper We should be celebrating that.
Usurper?
That's
You mean a
something that
usurper?
we should be looking to support, because that ultimately just means better Pokemon games in the future. And it also opens the door for other challengers to arrive and new ideas to come in. And then we get...
And not be fearful, because if they won, that would have been a devastating blow to anybody that's like even doing anything adjacent to like Palworld.
more options, and then we get more better games. This is how competition works. You had some journalists and players that were cheering on these lawsuits. How disgusting are you?
Yeah, you're
What are
such
you
a
doing,
loser.
cheering for litigation between multi-billion-dollar companies and quite literally like single-digit number indie studios? All because you've invested your entire life and personality into Pokemon. Terminally millennial. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's the sunk cost fallacy. It's the same people that would defend and drool over Disney because someone decided to make like a adaptation of Snow White, even though Snow White as the story itself is not copyrighted. It's like a 400-year-old story from Hans Christian Andersen, or was it the Grimm brothers? One of the two. And it's like, oh no, you can't do that because Disney did it first. It's like, no, bitch, fuck you.
Only for you guys just to find out that if Nintendo won, it would be the most damaging thing the games industry has ever seen. It would ruin games pretty much across the board. Patenting the ability to capture creatures, to be able to ride them.
Stupid.
What were you guys thinking? This game's success is a huge win for indie developers, a massive win for indie developers, because it can prove just how high these guys can reach. And more or less, it also, you know, just by fighting this legal battle and getting all the way through this, they have now set a precedent to stop anything similar happening to somebody else. Because once you fight this fight, that fight is over, at least for now in this case. And it's just going to make sure that more people can make games like this. We're going to see more creature collecting games. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, we already are. There's like Amino or Amiibo or whatever it's called. There's one of those games is going to be coming out soon that also looks pretty good, at least, give me the eyeball test at the very least to see what it actually looks like when it comes out. But that's what we end up getting as a result of this. We get more games and we get more options, and then we get better games as a result of that. But
this is exactly what happened with World of Warcraft. Final Fantasy swooped in and took a big portion of their player base. Swept in? I don't know, man. English is hard, but you know what I mean? Yeah, they swooped in and it took a large chunk. I would say a substantial enough amount that they actually had to reconsider, be like, oh shit, maybe like we should take them seriously. And they did for a while, but now they're complacent again because Final Fantasy did the inverse. They became complacent and they kind of shit the bed recently. So, yeah, unfortunate.
I think that Palworld has to be the clearest picture, the clearest example of the divide between players and the industry, what we want and what they think we need. These guys do not represent us. They do not respect our taste. That much has been proven by this game and this game's success and everything that these guys have done to try to stop it. And our support proved that their authority means absolutely nothing anymore. Absolutely nothing. Because they couldn't stop it. The whole reason, I want you guys to know this, the whole reason that Palworld was able to make it this far, the reason why Pocket Pair was able to fight their legal battles the way that they have, it's because we continue to support them financially and also emotionally in a way, because, you know, people really like their game, so they felt pushed to be able to continue to support it. We actually ended up in the midst of this revealing to the rest of the industry what players actually want. Fun games.
Whoa, what?
That's going to be a real problem for a lot of people.
Fun games that don't cost an arm and a leg. I mean, people are willing to shell out a lot of money for a really good game, but god damn, man. Some absolute sloppa. I don't know. I'm still not convinced GTA is going to be that fun, worth $130 or $110, whatever the fuck it is.
When Palworld first launched into early access, I honestly took a lot of the backlash at face value. Some of the character designs are clearly inspired by Pokemon. Sure, okay, I'll give you that. I can also understand for some people that they might be offended by some of the game's themes. I definitely don't respect those people, but
I was about to say, what do you think about some don't like the guns in video games?
but I can understand how they got there. But after all this time, and after seeing everything that this game has delivered, I think I finally understand what the real issue was for a lot of people in this industry, which is the fact that they just don't get it. And that confusion frustrates them. What do you mean players want a game that's filled with themes of cute animal slavery and toilet-level humor? What do you mean they want to shove a penguin into a rocket launcher or have a monkey following them around with an AK-47? What do you mean they want hot anime chick bosses that they can capture in a ball and then force into hard labor? What do you mean they want this offensive, distasteful, copycat game made of Unreal assets and fever dreams, and it's somehow now the best-selling game in the last decade? Palworld is simply the antithesis of what many people in this industry believe games should actually be. They are the same people that give Mixtape a 10 out of 10, then act confused when players are upset. They think that Dragon Age the Veilguard should have been a success. They think that Marathon is receiving undeserved hate, and they consistently fail to recognize what we want from video games is not necessarily the same thing that they want. And honestly, probably a lot of other people, simply...
No, because they want a virtue signal. They don't actually want to play a game. It has to have overarching themes that make everybody comfy. There's nothing racy. There's nothing edgy about it. It has to be clean. It has to be politically captured to some extent, or even like completely politically captured because they have certain ideals that they want pushed on people. Like, it's not to say that you can't have, like, political themes in video games, but there has to be nuance and reason to it.
Just do not care that Palworld's designs are influenced by Pokemon, that the game uses Unreal assets, and that it's not the most refined or polished game ever made. I don't care that it isn't cinematic, that it doesn't have
Sometimes your Pokemon get stuck. Who gives a fuck? Nintendo has its own engine, and that fucking stupid, the latest release was so broken and horrible, and the FPS was garbage. Did we just forget about that completely? It was borderline unplayable in certain points, or unfinished once you get to the later stages of the game. When you get to the ice gym or whatever the fuck. Which one? The one where you ride around on the bike and stuff. That one was a horrible release.
Progressive narrative, or that it refuses to bend over backwards for people that don't want to be offended by a video game. I like that this game is messy and unrefined. I like that it doesn't have a drawn-out tutorial that's keeping me from actually playing it.
Yeah,
and I'm not forced to stop and watch a movie every half an hour while I'm playing the game, and that I actually get to the gameplay almost immediately after I turn it on. And I'm going to say the reason that this game has become as successful as it is because Pocket Pair actually just leaned harder into what players wanted instead of trying to please the rest of the industry with what they think they would want. I started a fresh save going into 1.0, and it's kind of taken me a while to be able to get back to where I was because I've spent the last week moving and trying to get everything set up. But my God, did these guys cook. These guys went far above and beyond what I think anybody expected them to do, especially the people who had claimed that this game was a blatant cash grab and they would be abandoning the game shortly after their launch. But Palworld 1.0 has a fully fleshed out storyline, side quests that are scattered across the map, new biomes, and 72
it was actually shocking how filled out the game was compared to when I first played it. Yeah, I wasn't exactly disappointed when I first played it. I knew I was playing an early access game, but I was just floored. Pokemon everywhere. There was NPCs, there's quests, there's little side quests.
Additional creatures on top of everything that they already added in their earlier updates. It has an absurd amount of new weapons and armor sets and crafting options. Base building is enormous now with countless materials, workstations, decorations, and structures to be able to build with. They added expeditions that allow you to send your pals out to gather resources. They expanded the pal customization with mutations and awakenings, allowing you to make them as powerful as you want. During early access, they even added Global Pal Box, which allows you to be able to take pals between worlds, and also they did this alongside the Pal Arena.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which means you can go and fight other...
You can get that really early on, too, so you're not gatekept by, like, you know, having to level, like, a new world or whatever the fuck. You can get in the first, like, 5 levels, I'm pretty sure.
Players on a server or face NPCs in 3 versus 3 battles, and you get a bunch of rewards. It's crazy what these guys have done. But gameplay, notice that's everything that I just mentioned. Almost everything this developer is focused on revolves around the one thing that players care about the most, and that is the act of playing this game. They have improved the visuals and touched up some of the creature designs, but the overwhelming majority of the effort that they put into this game went towards giving players more game to play and more ways to be able to play it. that is really all people are asking for. It's a massive reason why Palworld has been as successful as it has been to this point, because people just want more gameplay and they just want a fun game to play. Pocket Pair CEO Takuro Mizobe has delivered the exact same basic message across multiple interviews at this point. He recognizes that creating something completely new is difficult, so whenever possible, he just studies what already works. He has described Palworld as a mashup of everything that he finds interesting and
Final Fantasy, when I've brought this up so many countless times, it flopped so hard before they did the rework with Realm Reborn. That guy sat down, the top guy, I don't know what his name was, but hear me out. He sat down with his team, and I think it was like right around about Cataclysm to Mop, when World of Warcraft was like competing with them. Yeah, Yoshi P, I think. Yeah. He's the one that sat down with the team and said, I need to turn this shit around. Go play other MMOs. I think they played like Guild Wars 2, World of Warcraft, and I forget, there was another one that they mentioned in the interview or whatever the fuck, right? He made them all play those games to learn what's actually fun. And in my honest opinion, I don't think Kata Mop is like the most amazing representation. It was definitely overbloated and whatever. It is its own slew of issues, but I think they did a lot better after they went back to the drawing board and said, this Realm Reborn needs to be so much better. Yeah. We need to redo this entire fucking thing or I'm gonna fucking explode. And they did it. They really did a good job. I think Realm Reborn, as slow as molasses as the story is, I think it captured an audience that they were looking for, and they created a community that was really fun. At least initially. Now I think it's kind of getting a little bit strong. Yeah, 1.0 was so ass. Like, it was just terrible. And that's on the back of Final Fantasy as a franchise. I'm playing it now, super slow. No. That's nerfed. That's nerfed. I played the OG Realm Reborn. I didn't even know this, but when I played Realm Reborn, it was so slow that I actually thought I was losing my mind. Like, I remember playing it over a couple of weeks with my friends, and I just sat there, like, in 2016 or 17 when I played it, and I think, what is it called? What's the new expansion that came out after that? With the Astrologian. Heavensward? Heavensward came out like a couple of months before that, so I was playing it through, and I was like, dude, I'm so slow. Yeah, like, it was so bad. Yes, they nerfed Realm Reborn, I think in Stormbringer or something, because it was so slow.
Everything he has seen succeed before. The things
like, you
people
think it's
have
bad
already
now.
proven
It was
that they
really
want.
bad then.
In an interview with Euronews, he had
fun.
said that he doesn't have some grand creative vision. He just simply wants to make a game that people like. And when he was asked why Palworld combines cute creatures with guns, especially when discussing the importance of American players,
you really need
his
a
answer
reason
was
for that?
simple. Americans like to shoot things.
Yo! He's right, though. He's right. And you want to know the best part? Japanese people look to American culture and they will take it like, it's almost like a parody. Well, it is a parody because it's like they're not Americans, but they kind of like admire it from a distance and they think it's funny. And they think it's funny how loud and brazen Americans are. They think it's funny how they all love guns. They love eating. They love barbecue. Like, it's actually like a cultural phenomenon. You can see it in anime too, with several references of really, really famous animes and mangas where they like treat Americans as like this caricature, which is funny, right? I don't think it's inappropriate. I don't think it's fucking weird. I think it's hilarious.
The funny thing is that I think a lot of people in the games industry would probably be offended by how blunt all of this is. Mizobe seems to lack the creative drive, the artistic ethics, and the grand vision they think a developer is supposed to have.
Guys.
He just wants to make a consumerist game, a grab bag of things that people already like, all of it bundled together into something that people can enjoy and play for hundreds of hours. Oh my God, how disgusting. But do you know what? Regardless of what they think, he was right. And so are we. Games at their baseline are entertainment. They can move you, they can inspire you, they can teach you something, but the most important thing is that they're supposed to be fun. So when a game comes along that is that pure, distilled, crystallized fun with no barriers, no censorship, and no concern for whether it's too messy or too deranged, people are going to enjoy it. And that's exactly what happened with Palworld. The games industry at
games used to not be so fucking sanitized. I was playing through Devil May Cry, and it just made me realize that a game from like 2008 was so gritty and so like it doesn't take itself too seriously. It was fun. And like, yeah, sure, there's some fucking really annoying bits and pieces here and there. And I know they're like post-nerf. There's some puzzles that they actually unironically had to nerf because people would break their controllers over them. You guys know what I'm talking about. And in Devil May Cry 4, there's that section where you have to do the jumping thing. And then every time you fail, you fall down and you have to beat up the stupid, like, random stupid demons. And you're just sitting there like, dude. And by the way, they nerfed it. They nerfed it because it was so fucking hard. Yeah, and it's so funny to me.
Has become so self-obsessed.
It's so easy in the rework, the special edition. They have
almost completely disregarded the purpose of these games and are chasing their own version of it. They want the Hollywood version of it. They think that these games need to educate the audience, influence the audience, create works of art.
You can educate the audience without them knowing. That's what's so amazing about video games. What do you think Metal Gear Solid was doing? It was like literally a parody on American consumerism, capitalism, and warfare. That's the whole point. People still parody it to this day. Like, I just don't get it. You don't have to beat them over the head like with a message like they're stupid.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
I'm of the opinion that even the lowest common denominator can actually sense in their brain when they're being like not propagandized, that's the wrong word, but like when they're being taught something. They might not realize, like, the gears might not be turning, but they're not being lectured and they don't realize like that they're being taught something. Yeah, but you're not being patronized. You're not treated like you're stupid. There's nuance to what the author or what the person is talking about, like the person who's like making the game or like the script, right?
Like they're making a blockbuster movie and then they just completely forget about the gameplay, the fun factor, and they severely overestimate how much people appreciate the art over the product.
Yep.
Pocket Pair CEO recognizes that games are products first and creative work second. He wants to make money. That's his entire purpose. He has said that many times before, and he knows the best way to do that is to treat making games the same way players do when buying them. You know, for all the biggest criticisms about the lack of originality for Palworld, I find it really hilarious that people want to prop up Pokemon as something to overshadow this game when Game Freak and Nintendo have been churning out the same repetitive slop.
And it's not even like repetitive in a good way. It's actually worse. I'm so disappointed. I'm really disappointed in the fact that this is another thing. I agree with Pippa that, like, Pokemon Go should have been this amazing thing that should have lasted pretty much, like, infinitely. But they really shit the bed with leaving it with whoever the fuck is in charge of it. It's not Game Freak, it's another company. But they actually shat it up so much. Yeah, Niantic. I think it could have been, like, a really fun forever mobile game. I miss in 2016 to like 2018 where I actually like made friends, and I know like this is gonna sound as this fucking shock, but I actually made acquaintances and friends through Pokemon Go. They had something that was so amazing. Like, you would be lying if you all over the world, no matter what, Brazil, Russia, fucking Australia, New Zealand, you would be hard pressed not to find someone that didn't hear of Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go to the polls. Like, that was a fucking meme. And then they shit it up completely. It's just a Palantir database expander all this time. Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, obviously that was another thing too, but people didn't care because it was a fun game. That's the sad part. Like, anything, I'm going off on like such a fucking tangent, but my point is like people didn't care that they had this like fucking Alexa or GPS tracker on their phone. They did it because it was fun. Now people are realizing that there was obviously like a reason to it, and I never disputed it, but it's like, yeah, obviously it helped map all these things for them. The
decades
government,
now,
I mean.
with little to no innovation. You know, I played Pokemon ZA, much to the dismay of many Pokemon fans.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Chat, I'm not gonna lie, I regret spending money on that. I bought it when it came out like 2 days later, and I was like, oh, surely it can't be that bad. The first 2 hours, I actually like felt nauseous playing it. It's just so fucking bad.
They tried to innovate, ironically.
And actually, I actually think it was kind of interesting, like in terms of like combat and stuff, but the fucking gameplay was not the gameplay, but like the actual trudging through the tutorial and the script and the story was so unbearable. It was so ass.
Just copying Palworld's involvement to the player character in combat and not just the creatures, but all they did was just make it where you just run around and dodge attacks. No other interactivity.
Yeah, that's what fucking killed it for me too. You're just standing there. You can't even like beat him up or anything.
Other than just spamming buttons and waiting for abilities to come off of cooldown. You know, as shallow as they try to make Palworld seem, you are shooting guns, you're laying traps, you're throwing grenades, you're grabbing a pal and using them as a flamethrower, you're riding on the back of them to use their abilities and then switching them out for something else.
Why can't you like have a craft? This is gonna be like off the top of my head. Why can't you have a crafting mechanic where you have grenades that are like, you know, different elements and like you throw them at them and you have to actually like hit them with it? Whoa, I just fucking gave you a free idea. You're welcome, Nintendork. Yeah, why not? Why not have like a bazooka that throws out like different abilities or something? I don't fucking know. Palworld did it? Yeah, I know they did it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you can't have a copyright on grenades of elements, but like, why not? There's grenades in Palworld that we'll use. So no, you can't. Like, let's not get into it. But like, I don't think that's like a valid reason to sue. Like, why not just play into it? No, but they're so prideful. They're so gross. They don't want to do it.
In copying the old, Palworld ended up making something far better, far newer, more dynamic and interactive, a creature collector that honestly has more flexibility than any game has ever had before, including any game that's been made by Nintendo. Palworld is honestly just a fantastic game now. Simple as that.
It really
and you know,
is.
one of the things that I realized
Super
when I was
fun.
playing through it again is that they even made the act of collecting creatures better than it's ever been. You know, in Pokemon, you collect a creature and it's just filling out your Pokédex just for the completion's sake. In
You can mulch your Pokemon, your Palworld, your little pals, and make better versions of them if you have the machine. Yeah, you can mulch them down.
Palworld, catching them gives you more experience. It expands what you can do at your base. It lets you strengthen your other pals, and it opens up more ways to play. They didn't just improve the combat or exploration. They made the act of collecting creatures actually matter.
Yeah, look, he's spam capturing them because he wants
now,
to
I think this is where
down.
the comparison to Pokemon finally becomes a bit unavoidable.
And look at this character. It reminds me of like Fauna. Yeah, like the character. Oh, there's that new anime that came out recently. Oh gosh, the one with the Hogwarts Academy and he can't use magic. Gosh, what's his name? You guys know what I'm talking about? Not Mashley. No. Wistoria? Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and there's an elf chick that's like the goddess of fucking leaf or wind or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
Here, but you know, Palworld.
It's season 2, not brand new. Yeah, but season 2 recently came out. I watched it all. I love it. It's such a good anime. Yeah, it's like actually really good and really fun.
Did not become successful because it tricked a bunch of people into buying a knockoff. It became successful because there was a massive audience that was waiting for somebody to take this genre somewhere new. That's what I had been waiting for. I know that's what a lot of people have been waiting for. People have spent years now asking for Pokemon to make larger worlds, deeper multiplayer, better performance, more interaction with the creatures, and gameplay that extends beyond.
And shooting actually matters. You hit them in the head. I know this is such a small, like, little thing to, like, nitpick on, but shooting them in the head does different damage, as it should. Or hitting them in the butt. Like, certain creatures, they have, like, exposed, like, parts. You can crit them because you hit them in the butt. Yeah.
Simply
because that's where their weak point is. It's fun.
Nintendo could ignore a lot of those demands because, well, there was really nowhere else for that audience to go. Every single competitor remained small enough for these guys to dismiss, and Pokemon continued to sell millions of copies because that audience just buys those games anyway.
Yeah, they'll buy the slop regardless. It's kind of like the Blizzard / basically anyone who's super duper captured and has a huge sunk cost fallacy in the game that they've invested in, they will refuse to play, like, or they'll just keep buying, you know, the sloppa that they know. Yeah. It's really sad, but it's true. Like, I think that whenever, or if ever, there is a response to World of Warcraft, there's gonna be so much hate. And I'm such a diehard WoW fan that, like, I can't help but laugh at that, because it's like, why would you not want a good game to compete with World of Warcraft?
Regardless of how little those
Call
games
of
move
Duty,
forward.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I think Palworld changes that. It changes those expectations. Your creatures fight alongside you. They work inside your bases. They gather resources, operate machinery, service mounts.
Best response to WoW is Conquest of Azeroth. Yeah, but it's still WoW. That's the problem. No, I get what you're saying, but, like, at the end of the day, it's still World of Warcraft. I want something, like, that's not WoW. I know. It sucks.
Fundamentally changed the way
We
that you
don't
move
have
throughout
that.
the world. Pocket Pair took the fantasy that people had watching Pokemon as children and built an entire game around actually living alongside those creatures, though it might be a little bit more twisted than people probably thought it would be. It gave people more freedom, more interaction, and more game for $20 or $30 than Nintendo has been willing to offer for twice the price for many years now. Palworld did not steal Pokemon's audience. Pokemon abandoned an audience that Palworld was willing to serve. And I think that audience is a lot bigger than they know. The gatekeepers of the games industry have completely lost control. We are the captain now, my friends, and they can't do anything to stop it. We have now proven through this game, out of any game, I think at this point, that our demand outstrips anything that they can say or do to try to change things or move things in a direction that we do not want. And I think this game is probably the clearest example that we have ever seen of the games industry at large, whether it's developers or the press or whoever else, just completely not having or respecting the same taste as players. They are so absolutely confused by the fact that people like this game, and it drives them up the wall.
I don't think they're confused. They're just in fucking denial. They don't want to accept the fact that someone created a response to their problem that they've been hemorrhaging.
And it's not even that people like this game, it's that this many people like this game, because it is an aversion of truth to them. How is this possible? What do you mean? Why isn't it The Last of Us? Why isn't it Mixtape? Why isn't it these other artistic, wasteful, garbage games that nobody wants to give time to? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's pretty simple. We want fun games. Palworld is a very fun game. Simple as that. It's not the most creative game. It's not the most compelling game, but man, once you're in it, you're having fun, and you just keep playing, and you keep playing, and you keep playing. Every single session you go to sit down, you put multiple hours in. It is not a game that you sit down to play for 30 minutes and just walk away from it for a week. No, most people are picking up this game and continuing to play it. That's the reason why the Steam numbers are as high as they are, because the concurrent player is, yeah, you guys get it. It's just fun to see. I love seeing this happen. And, you know, massive congratulations to Pocket Pair and Palworld. It's huge what these guys have done. Not only just the creativity and the originality of their game, or at least the originality that I see in it, the things that they've done with it, and how amazing of a game these guys have made, and getting this game all the way to the finish line with as few as people as they had. The team's definitely grown over the years. I think they're closer to 100 people now, but it's crazy that they were able to pull off what they did with as few people as they had before. But the game is great. It really is.
And it just proves to these people that are sitting at, like, Microsoft that you don't need 9,000 people to create a multiplayer game, or like a really good open world single player game. They're getting scared. They're like, oh, fuck. Ah, shit. We might actually have to start cutting people. And that's why I think, like, Asha, whatever her name is, that chick that's like the Microsoft CEO now, I think, like, I hope, and I have to take this with a grain of salt, because she is a corpo after all, and she just wants to do what's best for money. But I hope that Asha Sharma, the X-Bone CEO, she's cutting people off and being like, yeah, we're not making money, sucks to suck, see ya, losers. Not literally, but, like, in a way, like, she's kind of just putting it down, or she's putting her foot down. They should have done this years ago, especially after COVID.
And honestly, man, I have to respect the
bloat, man.
I gotta respect the balls on these guys to go after and take on one of the biggest and most litigious publishers in the entire industry and come out alive. Not even come out alive, come out on top. You guys are kings, man. Kings in my eyes. And I view this game as one of the catalysts in what I am viewing as a culture war, not even a culture war, it's a counterculture in video games, where people are just sick and tired of the gaslighting. People are sick and tired of people telling them what games should be or how games should be played or what games can include and who games are actually made for. And they just want all that bullshit to go away.
Kira, think of the raid.
And they
I
just want
appreciate
fun
it.
video games. And this game has been a part of that. Because it showed the contrast between expectations and desires.
It gives encouragement to the little guy.
Basically everywhere. You know, one of the other things that I've seen as well is there's been a lot of journalists that have been turncoating pretty quick. And I find that to be poetic. You see a lot of these guys that were like, they were bad-mouthing Palworld 2 years ago. But now that, you know, there's been a few rounds of layoffs and their companies aren't doing that well and they really need some ad revenue. Now you see these guys really doing their best to try to, you know, positive post about, you know, Pocket Pair and Palworld because, well, they got to make money and they got to get clicks. You're seeing these guys posting all these
now that's shilling, by the way,
and stuff like that. I'll give credit where credit is due. Paul Tossi, that guy has loved this game since the minute they came out. I'm telling you, some of these guys are starting to change. The chuddening is happening. You probably wouldn't want to hear that. I think it's true.
The culture wars pivoting. The chuds are winning.
True, though. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think of the new setup. You guys like the new background? I hope. I hope you do, because I'm not moving here. I'm not leaving here anytime soon.
Wait, I didn't even realize. Yeah, he's in a basement. That's sick, actually. That is so cool.
Halfway across the country, literally.
I want a
halfway
basement.
Across the country. So you're stuck.
This is like a
place.
goon cave.
Maybe I'll change the walls
chat.
if you guys think it could look better from a different direction. I don't know.
It looks better if you don't have the staircase in the back. Yeah, I think the staircase can be a little bit distracting. I think you should put it or film where the wall is like not with a door and a staircase. Maybe I'm just being autistic. Enjoyed the
video.
I don't know.
If you guys did enjoy the video, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
I mean, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I didn't realize what he was
Follow me on
doing
social
anyway.
media. Follow me on Twitter where I talk mad
Jarvis,
shit.
prepare the goon cave.
And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay cool, stay righteous, stay safe. Peace.
Peace.
Family.
Family. Family. Family. Family. That was a good video. I got to rant a lot. That was great. That was great.
For you.